Glad George Washington realized years ago on Christmas Eve that the Hessians would be drunk and would be
Trenton
for a good time, and he drove England out basically on that night.
Well, that's when they turn the tide. Stay there. Amazing. Lindsey, stay there. Let's come back and continue with this key information straight ahead and phone calls for people that are waiting. And we'll get to 4 and 5 straight ahead.
We're on the march. The Empire's.
Our info is hardcore. It's no joke. You know, I've started digging into bioweapons and things and confirmed the government programs for weaponized cancer. That's what AIDS came out of. And you know, to realize that we're seen as animals and they've been testing all this on us and suppressing all of the treatments and things, it's just so absolutely wicked and tears my heart out. It tears my heart out. And I've gone past the point of even being angry at these people. It is more a stunning coldness that I feel. And I just pray people will get their hearts right with God, because the world is going into a very insane time. As crazy as things are now, we ain't seen nothing yet, as they say. We're going back to Lindsey here in a moment, and I promise your calls. If you want to support us, go to the Infowars.com store, buy books, buy DVDs, buy T-shirts, Infowars flags. All of it helps get the word out, informs you to a higher level, is a testament to what's really going on. Here is Politico, bloggers, SOPA's the end of us. And even mainstream media admits this is the total takeover and end of free speech preemptively, and the Pentagon runs it. The 80 inventors of the internet have come out, as you know, and said that it is the end of freedom and that America has now been taken over by pure evil. That's AP Reuters. Department of Homeland Security is using fake Facebook and Twitter accounts to monitor posts containing certain keywords. Yeah, and to spam disinfo. And again, the Department of Defense doesn't work for America. It works for the New World Order global banks. The average people individually are good in the military. On average, are some of the best people out there. They join for the right reasons, many of them. I found the military are about the best group out there, quite frankly, for waking up, being serious, supporting Ron Paul, supporting liberty. But the one reason they're awake is they're in the middle of it. They're seeing what we're talking about. And, you know, I get mad at police all the time because they're where the rubber meets the road, but cops on average are waking up faster than the public. I'm getting chills right now. I really am. I mean, this stuff is making me sick because it's like watching a child tied up in the middle of the road and knowing a car is going to come by and run them over, and you're tied up to a tree and you can't save them. Or a child on a train track, and zombies are walking by, and you're like, untie me or untie that child. And they look at you, and you're all tied up, and the kid's tied up, and they go, you're a conspiracy theorist. I heard if anybody was tied to the tracks, it was a conspiracy theory. You're like, look, it's a child on the train track. I'm tied up here to this tree. It's a real train track. You know trains come down this, right? And they're like, I was told about people like you. And I'm just like, I mean, it is a spiritual delusion. I mean, you heard Dr. Busby last hour. I mean, he's saying it's like people are zombies or something. It is crazy. It is crazy. And I was just during the break reading a document about weaponized cancer. They put it in the stinking polio vaccines and got caught. Your grandma's, your grandpa's, my grandpa's dying of cancer. They killed them, folks. Cancer in the last 10 years is up 2,000-fold in many types. In the last 50... I'm going to go to Lindsey Williams. I apologize. It's just I was reading this document during the break, and it's really getting to me. It's really getting to me. And all right, we're gonna go back to Lindsey Williams here. If you want to support us till the end of the year, we're offering the Everything Special, all 18 of my films, 70+% off. That's $360. All 18 of them on DVD or $99.95. Great way to wake folks up. We've got all these other great videos we carry, like Oklahoma City, the Noble Lie, proving that was a false flag inside job. And when you realize the feds bomb those little kids on purpose, I mean, these are not feds. These are demons. And people say, well, if they're so dangerous, why are you resisting them? Aren't you scared? I'm scared of this continuing. Separately, I was asking, Lindsey, because he's not here to plug his books and videos today. I drug him on the show, but I said, look, people need to get this information. 2012, The Beginning of the End is his 3 DVD set that where he breaks a lot of this down in true detail without myself and the calls and everything, you know, and the breaks interrupting him. Go to prophecyclub.com with the great work they do there to get all of his materials, or 888-799-6111, 888-799-6111. They got a lot of other material as well, but it's important with all these moves towards censorship. They start a nuclear war. They start a bigger war. They claim a cyber attack and shut the web down from general public. And their plans are public. It's to wire everything into government sites where every major site gives you a government message, and only affiliated groups like Fox and CNN will be allowed to stay up, and then they'll have the government messages as well packaged by them. That's why you've seen Woodchuckabee with the Woodchuck Show, posing as a Christian conservative on Fox, come out and say Obama's a Christian, loving patriot who loves America. I was told by high-up Fox people before my sources all dried up, because I was allowed to talk about it. I never gave particulars, but they figured out who the two sources were, and they're gone. They're shut down. That about a year ago, they were told, we're turning the direction, we're going to start backing Obama, and because we're circling the wagons. And you're going to start noticing that. I mean, this is so disgusting. And okay, side issue. I want him to finish his other points, and we're going to go to your calls. It's just that the whole system's circling the wagons right now, because as Lindsey breaks down this speech that his elitist friend said, look at this is what we're going to do. It's just total confirmation of a total devaluation and what that means. It means hyperinflation with a physical depression, the perfect storm, the royal flush, the creme de la creme of the creme de la creme of economic disaster, with half the public a bunch of spoiled, rotten jellyfish who don't want to work, the other half of us carrying everybody on our backs. It is going to be, if we don't avert this, it is going to be hellish with a capital H. Lindsey, I'm sorry I'm ranting. A lot of us have to do a little bit of overdrive here to finish with the calls, but I want to go to the calls. Finish your other 2 points, please. In 35 years, everything that the elite have ever told me, it has happened exactly as they said it. You've heard me come on the Alex Jones show and say it, and that's exactly the way it happened. Please write this date down. I'm begging you to go and read this speech. The date was November the 21st, 2002, when Ben Bernanke gave a speech before the National Economist Club of Washington, D.C. He said, if I am ever faced with another Great Depression, which he was immediately after he came in as Federal Reserve Chairman, the housing bubble had burst, the economy was in shambles, the unemployment rate was going through the roof. He said, I will do 5 things. He said, first of all, I would bring interest rates to 0. Look back at the last 4 or 5 years, he did exactly what he said. He said, secondly, I would buy securities from the banks to expand the federal balance sheet. You're going to have to digest that one a while. All of you out there, please do. He said, number 3, I would increase the money supply. That's exactly what he did after bringing the interest rates to 0, after buying securities in order to expand the federal balance sheet. Then he increased the money supply exactly as he said in the speech he would. And number 4, he said, I would buy our country's debt. QE1, QE2. He bought our country's debt beginning 1 year ago. Mr. Fromm had warned me 3 years ago that whenever this happened, or about 2.5 years ago, he warned me that whenever this happened, it was the end of the dollar. I didn't understand what he was saying. I see it readily now. And then Mr. Bernanke said, I will do a 5th thing. Now, the first 4 I have mentioned to you, he has done them in the exact order, precisely as he said he would. He did not change one thing from his speech. You've got to wade through that speech. It'll take you hours to do it. Whenever you do, you'll understand he did the first 4 in the exact order. Now, here's what happened to me just a matter of days ago. My elitist friends, and again, they're old. They're clearing their conscience, I believe. You've got to go to Bernanke's speech of 2002, and you will know what's going to happen next. And right now, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next.
I'll tell you exactly how much they're going to do it, and I'll tell you the method they'll use. And you'll see it because Bernanke gave it, and when you read his speech, it'll send cold chills up and down your spine, I do believe. Mr. Bernanke said, the fifth thing I will do, and of course you know the economy is not getting any better. The housing market is in shambles. The unemployment rate is continuing to climb. They just gave $600 billion over Christmas to Europe, to the EU. China and Japan just made a pact. Folks, do you realize what happened while you were having Christmas and getting ready for New Year's? China and Japan just signed the largest trade agreement ever signed in the history of the world. You heard me correctly. Ever in the history of the world, and they said, we will trade amongst ourselves, China and Japan, the second and third largest economies in the world. We will trade amongst ourselves, and we will not use the dollar. Folks, are you getting the message? Okay, number 5. Mr. Bernanke said, if I am faced with a continual depression, he said, I don't even want to say it. It scares me. He said, I will devalue the dollar. Oh, my goodness. Folks, please. All right. He said how he was going to do it. I'm going to read you a portion of his actual statement. You're going to read the entire speech for yourself. You've got to. And I want to read you just one sentence out of his speech. He said, it's worthy noting, now these are his exact words in that speech in 2002. He said, it's worth noting that there have been times when exchange rate policy has been an effective weapon. A striking example from U.S. history is Franklin Delano Roosevelt's 40% devaluation of the dollar against the gold in 1933 and 34. Please, I beg of you folks, you are facing a currency devaluation. They said to me, go and look at Bernanke's speech and you'll know what's going to happen next. I did not say it was going to happen tomorrow. I did not say it was going to happen next month. It's in the works. They plan to do it, and I'll tell you how much they're going to devalue it. Yeah, that's right. He actually stated in his speech how much he would devalue the currency. Are you ready? He said he would devalue it by 40%. Now, how did FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, do it in 1933 and 34? You remember, he said, bring in your 1-ounce gold pieces. He said, I will give you $20 for them because stamped on that 1-ounce gold piece is $20. Oh, people were patriotic. Oh, yes, we want to help back up our country. We want to help get the country out of the mess it's in. And within a few months' time, after the people turned in their 1-ounce gold for a piece of paper, oh, please, people, I'm begging of you. Mr. Fromm said to me, Chaplain, if it's written on a piece of paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. They brought in their 1-ounce gold pieces, and they were given a piece of paper that said you can go back to the bank and get your gold back for $20. No, I didn't say for $20. It just said we'll take them for $20, and they gave them a gold certificate piece of paper. Today, you don't even have that. You don't have anything but a Federal Reserve note today. It has no backing of gold or silver or anything else. And please hear it, within a few months, Franklin Delano Roosevelt announced one day out of a clear blue sky with no warning whatsoever, the price of gold is going up to $35 an ounce.
Yeah, so that's the type of stuff we're going to see, and we're going to have you back up in the new year to break this down more. We've got to go to calls and get their perspective because I promised we would, but